everybody. This is Kristin, and I want to welcome you to another episode of Connect with KB. I'm so happy to have you tuning in as we talk about business and education and leadership and all the wonderful things that connect us to each other. My guest today is leading PARC, an organization in St. Petersburg, Florida, that has been committed to serving clients with developmental disabilities for over 60 years. She understands both the personal and professional aspects of her incredible job, and I'm so glad that she's joining me today. I want to welcome to the podcast my good friend, Michelle Detweiler. Michelle, thanks so much for being with me.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Let's talk a little bit. This is how I start all of my segments, with a story, and I want to hear the Michelle Detweiler story.
The Michelle Detweiler story. Okay, well, my story as it relates to PARC is that my oldest sister, there's 5 children in my family, she was born with developmental disabilities back in the early 50s. And at that time, imagine it's 1953 and your child's born with disabilities, specifically developmental disabilities. And my parents were told by the professionals that there was very little that they could do to help her. And so that was not very acceptable to my family. And Leslie did, when she was 10, have to be put into a state institution where she lived for 10 years because she needed complete care, and my parents had 4 other children. So that started my life, spending the weekends driving to Fort Myers, Florida, visiting my sister and seeing my mom cry every time we left her. And it also started my family story where my parents wanted to do something about it. So that is somewhat how PARC got started. My father was very, very passionate about creating a facility and programs so that my sister could come back home. And so that's how it started. And my father was the first president and CEO of PARC, and he worked here for 30 years. And, of course, PARC's been in my life my entire life. And I have served on the board in the past, and I went on my own career path into business and then circled back to PARC about 4 years ago and started as the Chief Operating Officer, and today I'm the President and CEO.
Talk about a calling.
Yes, I mean, it is definitely a calling.
You bet. And, you know, I am a proud PARC board member. And this is personal to me, too, as I have a sister who is at PARC and has been at PARC for over 40 years now in day programs, and now is a resident at PARC at Burkett Villa. And this has been very personal to my family as well. And so, you know, as you and I kind of take this journey together, and really it looks different for so many of us who understand, and the opportunity to talk a little bit and educate people about the services of PARC. Will you share those with me?
Absolutely. So PARC is a very, very comprehensive organization. We serve, basically, you look at the population as preschool and post-school. So if you have a child who is either a failure to thrive or showing signs of disability, we have programs starting at 2 months all the way to pre-K, so 4, some 5, where they can come every day and we provide educational services, physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, and it's like a one-stop early intervention program. It's really one of the only ones in our area. And so that's the beginning. That's one service. And in addition to the children's services like our Discovery Learning Center, which is a preschool, we have a respite program where we go out into the community and we help families who have children with disabilities. We give them breaks. We assist them in whatever they need. They may need food. They may need gas to fill their tank. It's not unusual where we are going above and beyond the respite program to provide our families with much-needed resources. And if we can't provide them, we find somebody that can. So that's another program. The Family Focus program is also where we are out in the community and we are visiting children who have not been diagnosed yet with disabilities, but they are on track for it. Somebody has referred them to our program, and we work with the children and the families to help them through that whole process. Then you Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I'm going to ask you in a minute, how do they get to you? How do you hear about this? But I want you to continue with go ahead and kind of fulfill the services.
Sure. So, and then we go to our adult day services. So we have many, many programs where adults who have developmental disabilities come to us every day, and we provide programming for them. It might be for them to learn how to do some self-care. It might be an art program. It might be employment services. We have everything on the spectrum as far as program is concerned for adults. Then we also have residential services. So we have 94 people who live with us in 4 different homes that we have here at PARC. So we have a bigger home, which was the first home when the deinstitutionalization happened in the state of Florida. That is what was built. It's a 48-bed home for people with disabilities. And that home will never be built again. A 48-bed intermediate care facility will never be built. They're being built 6- and 8-bed homes. It works for us. We've been doing it for 42 years, but it's a challenge, as you can imagine.
Well, you just took the words out of my mouth, because I wanted to jump right into the biggest hurdles that PARC faces, and I know that this is a constant for you, and it keeps you up at night. And let's just share with the listeners a little bit about what those challenges are.
So we have, not to mention the pandemic that created more challenges for us, but I would say that the biggest challenges we have right now are labor, our employees. We have 320 employees. Right now we have 65 openings, and those are mostly direct care employees. It's hard to hire. People aren't applying for the jobs, which is a huge problem. And they're not making living wages. What we can pay them, they're not making a living wage. And it's a challenge, because the funding that we receive from the state, there's a huge gap. We have to raise $2 million this year to close that gap, and that's just this year. Our goal is to really focus on our employees and bring that rate of pay up to a living wage. That's one of our number one priorities. Then we have our facility problem. You know, we've been here for this is our 69th year. So our buildings are very old, and we have a lot of work to do to renovate or rebuild. So that's another big challenge, because we use them all. We serve pandemic numbers, 520 people a day. So it's a lot, and those are challenges that we deal with every single day.
Well, and they're challenges that are different than like a school district being able to implement a millage in a community.
Exactly.
It is way different. The lift that you have is so great. How do you get people to understand the PARC story and to invest? How do you continue to do that?
So the best way, and we could talk about what we do and how wonderful, and the children and the adults we serve, and those stories, your story, your family story, my family story, but to see it is what moves people. And so our goal is to try to bring more people to tour our facility so they can see the amazing impact we're making. We serve an invisible population, and it's not an easy thing. And I would say probably 50% of people are uncomfortable being around people with disabilities. It's not a natural thing. So it's very, very difficult. But we have fundraising events. We do fundraising all year round. We do appeals where people get it in the mail. We do digital marketing. We have 2 premier events every year, our golf tournament, which has been going on for a very, very long time, and our black tie party. So those are our 2 major fundraisers where we hope to raise $100,000 each with those 2 events. But it's not $2 million.
Right.
And so it's a constant, that's what we talk about every day. Where can we get it? Grants, foundations, business leaders, the United Way. They've been the cornerstone funder for us for decades. So we're a United Way agency. There's a lot of different ways, but individuals, 80% of our funding that for our fundraising comes from individuals.
You bet. And, you had some great success, though. I mean, you kind of are a champion in all things to all people there in your role as CEO now, and the ability to connect out in the community with people that once they hear the PARC story, they certainly understand, and they have great giving hearts, and you're doing that. It's just, that's time consuming. And for you to be able to get out and do that and run an organization is it's a lot of work, and I certainly understand that. How would someone, if they wanted to understand a little bit more about PARC, how would they connect with you or connect with your team?
So let me first say that our leadership team, you talk about how massive this organization is and how difficult it is, and it is, but PARC has an amazing leadership team and amazing employees. We have people that have worked here for 39 years, 30 years, 25 years. It's incredible, the devotion that they have to our organization. The way you can connect to us is through our website. We have lots of ways to do that. It's www.parcfl.org and through email. So somebody could email me at any time. I have open door policy. It's MDETWEILER at PARC-FL.org.
You bet. Well, the thing is, too, to the listeners, if you would like to have an opportunity to get connected with PARC and to understand a little bit more about what's going on there, you can certainly reach out to me, too. You're having the Black Tie Gala. I know that things are going well. That's going to be on February the 5th. I think you've done a great job, and the team's done a great job of driving people out to that. And you're going to have another one, I think, though, at the end of 22, correct? So this is really the 21 version of the Black Tie. And
Thank you, pandemic.
You bet. And I think a lot of people have faced that. It gave everybody a little bit longer time to find their tux and their dress, which I guess maybe sometimes is a good thing. You'll have another one, I think it's going to be in October or November of this year, correct?
Yes, we are.
You bet. I am looking forward to having an opportunity to get down there and to attend and to see firsthand the wonderful people in the Pinellas County and Tampa Bay region at that event and connect with them. Tell me a little bit about the types of collaboration and outreach you're working on to bolster the mission of PARC. I know that you're trying to get out, your team's trying to get out and connect a little bit. What does that look like?
So we are working with the business community through the St. Pete Chambers, through the Gulf Beach Chambers. We are trying to collaborate with all the business entities in St. Petersburg and in the Tampa Bay area. The arts community in St. Pete, very, very important to us because we have our Inspired Artist Studios. And so we are trying to collaborate and connect and have our exhibitions with the different museums and the different art arenas here in St. Pete and Tampa. That's very, very big. We are trying to, for example, we have a sponsor for this. It's our major sponsor. It's called Hugs, and they provide services for individuals with disability to try to promote them. So if there's a pianist, this young man's going to be playing at our Black Tie. He's a pianist, and he also is autistic. So we're collaborating to try to bring our population together and make the biggest impact as we can.
Absolutely.
With the resources.
Well, you know what you do. And, it just for you to stay so positive all the time and your team, and they keep coming back, and this is not an easy lift. And, you know, I had my good friend Chad Livengood, who's with the Cranes Detroit business, on with me last year. He has a brother too who was in an accident, and the day-to-day care for him and this living wage issue is not just unique to Florida. I mean, it is happening here in Michigan as well. And we need to get the attention of local and state and national officials to really dig down deep and to figure this out. And it is not a problem that's going to go away. And so how do we start to invest in this community and to make a difference? And I know that your team is working exceptionally hard, and they are underpaid. And, you know, you look at the difference, and Chad and I talked about this, you know, someone who's a valet and they're getting tips versus the work of lifting up a 200-pound man out of a wheelchair and helping them and that kind of work. So clearly this is something that we need to address, and I certainly want you to know that I am going to be in the fight with you to do this. I love the mantra of together we are PARC. What does that mean to you?
And together we rise. So together we are PARC, because it takes a village, right? It's not just me. It's not just our leadership team. It takes every single person, the community, the funding supporters that we have. That's what it is. We are PARC. We are all PARC. And, you know, together we rise. And that's our biggest new thing now: rise, respect, integrity, service, and empathy. That's what we are about. And so we try to promote that culture within our organization and to our stakeholders and our constituents.
Absolutely. You know, who would have thought 60 years ago that a big pat on the back to your dad, Bert Muller, and to your mother. And here we are, and the leadership of PARC is now in your hands. And I know it's personal to you. And I just want you to know that I appreciate you. And on behalf of my family, my wonderful sister, Lisa, Stacy, and I cannot thank you enough. You have been a champion and will continue to be a champion, and I hope that people will get in and invest in PARC as well to make a difference.
Thank you, Kristin. That means a lot, and you know, I can't do it alone, so I really appreciate you and your family's support. It means a great deal. Yeah,
you bet. As we sign off here, tell me again, how can somebody help you out? What can they do?
What can they do? They can like us on all social media platforms. That's very important for our marketing efforts. They can volunteer. They can support our events. They can make a donation right online in our website, and they can call me and come take a tour.
Well, and I think that they should, because it is a big campus, and people would be surprised about the amount of work that being done there, and the good people and the talented people who reside there with you every day.
Yes, and all I need is an hour.
You bet.
All I need is an hour.
You bet. And, you know, I'll be right there with you. We'll get a golf cart out and we'll take people on a little drive. How's that sound?
That would be great.
You bet. Great. Michelle, thanks for being with me today.
Thank you so much, Kristin.
Absolutely. I want to thank my guest, Michelle Detweiler. She is the president and CEO of PARC in St. Petersburg, Florida. I also want to thank my supporting sponsors, Marketing Resource Group, Dowding Industries, Governmental Consultant Services, AF Group, AT&T, the Michigan Chamber of Commerce, Mercantile Bank, and the Fraser Law Firm. You can listen to all my podcasts at connectwithkb.com. Until we connect again, go live your best life. I'm your host, Kristin Belzer.